June Castor. I feel like names are really important. The ability to name yourself or give yourself a name is really important. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about the name. Like, I'm assuming Castor as in like Castor and Pollux, Castor.
Yes. Oh my God, how did you know that?
I'm a Greek mythology.
Okay. You know what's crazy? I feel like I was just saying like, oh, it just helped me write more, like studying writing. But I was actually in a class and I learned about Castor and Pollux. It was in a writing class. And I was a little bored, not by the person who was writing, but it was just like, I don't know, like it was a 2-hour class. It was like, yeah. But I found that story to be very interesting. And also the fact that I'm a Gemini. Even though my birthday's in May, I chose June. Chose June.
Okay.
May just like didn't fit that much for me. And I'm also like end of May, like so like a cusp, kind of. So it's like, Castor being one of the twins, June being a month in Gemini. It just like rolled off the tongue nice for me. And then I was just like fucking around doing doodles, like drawing shit in my notebook. And I was like, this has like a cute ring to it. A nice signature.
I didn't I understood like where Castor came from, and I understood June being a month. I just didn't connect that to Gemini. I understood it, but okay, you were thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking.
You
I
were
was
thinking.
thinking in that class when I probably should have been focused on other things, but
You were thinking. Yeah, I don't know if you know. Like, I love Greek mythology, like the Percy Jackson books.
I think I did know that about you, actually.
Yeah, like that's probably why I went.
That's probably why you did good in like those classes.
That's probably why I went to the institution. Like,
yeah, it's us like redacting shit is really.
I don't think we need to give them. Any
No,
more
we
press.
don't.
They don't need any more press right now.
That was the first thing in my mind.
I don't know more press.
Not a single. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's think about. Okay, one really cool background in the name. I guess like even more like I'm thinking about like people like Doja Cat, Lady Gaga. What are some other examples of people who don't go by their, I guess,
Chapel Roan?
Yeah, like
I just got into her actually. She's amazing.
So like I feel like a lot of times people that don't go by Nicki Minaj, right? Like people that go by a different name than like their birth name.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your persona is is June Castor a different person than Justice? Like, are these different people?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think June Castor is definitely more vulnerable. I feel like Justice is not.
There's lots of things I want to ask you. Okay, thinking about club life, all those things. Like, I feel like I want to, before we talk about the demo that I got to listen to, let's talk about your first release single, Fall For You. Like, I definitely hear the dance club electronic influences in that track and in like the demo that I've listened to as well. And so I'm wondering, and then even listening to some of your musical influences, it does seem like dance music, pop music, electro pop is an influence. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It definitely is.
So kind of just want to talk about that more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like talk about Fall For You first.
Talk about Fall For You. Talk about dance music as like a part of the music that you're producing. Talk about some of the artists that inspire that. Like I know you're one of those like Charlie XCX.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I think she's very talented. Amazing, I think she's an amazing artist. I don't know if she's like one of my influences because she's like hyper pop.
Beautiful.
She's like no, we love Charlie. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Her fans, her Bushwick gays will cancel us. Crash was good though. Like I feel like I need to like get into her because I
maybe really I do.
Maybe I think you need to get into her. I need to get into like she has cute music.
I need to get in. I'll give her a chance.
Yeah, you should. I feel like in terms of like dance, like influences, specifically for Fall For You. That's a really good question because Fall For You came like so abruptly. it's like one of those things where like everything happens for a reason and everything aligns in the exact time that you need it to be, because I was working on like maybe like 2 3 songs like fully before I was working on Fall for You. And then after graduation I was like trying to like look for things, and I found this mentorship with Soho House. They're amazing. Creative Futures Collective.
Sponsor us.
Right. And there was like a presentation at the end of the mentor menteeship, and I was going to present a song, but I didn't have like studio space. So one of the mentees actually like helped me find a studio. Shout out to Hostos Community College. Yeah, and I met the producer, Heron Dawson, who produced Fall for You, and we made it in like it did not take long at all, which made me very nervous because usually like I like to take my time with things, but this was probably done like in a day or two. Fall for You actually only took one take, and I feel like that made me very nervous as well because I was like, I want this to be changed, I want this to be changed, and then Haram was like, no, like I like it and we're gonna keep it. And I was like, okay, and then that's kind of how Fall for You came about. And then in terms of like writing it, I feel like it was just like the time in my life, honestly. I was thinking about this guy, obviously. I feel like it's like Fall for You, like the lyrics are kind of like I feel like it's because it's house, like you could obviously like write great things to house music, but I feel like it was just like what I was thinking. It wasn't like obviously like the most profound thing, but I was like, that's how I'm feeling. That's what I want to get out. And yeah, but it came at the right time because I was like still living with family, didn't have a full-time job yet, didn't have music out, and I kind of wanted, you know, my own apartment, music, and a job, and I didn't have it. And then in January, all 3 of those things came to me, thank God. And yeah, now I'm working on my second song and my third song and EP hopefully. So, yeah, it's just a very exciting time in my life, but it's nerve-wracking because I'm turning nerve-wracking or nerve-wracking? Is it
Racking.
nerve-wracking?
Yeah.
Because I'm turning 23 and I heard that that's like a really hard time. So, yeah. I wanted to like get the stuff done before 23 because I know that I'm just preparing myself mentally. Yeah.
As you should. As you should. Honestly, 23 is your Jordan year. Like,
Right.
you know.
But everyone on Twitter is saying it's like the worst year of your life and, you know, be prepared and it's going to suck. And so I'm just trying to take precautions.
I just turned 24. I just went through that 23rd year.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's my worst. Top 2 though. Top 2.
For me, it was 21. For me, it was 21. No shade, but
19. 19, 21. Shout out to Adele.
right.
Shout out to
Soon
her.
to be 25.
Eventually 30.
Eventually.
Which is terrifying. Yeah. Okay, so now let's kind of transition to thinking about Gotta Blast, the next song you're going to be releasing. I got to listen to it. I actually like it a lot. Also, I want to say I like Fall for You a lot. And I really appreciate that you make music I actually like, because I would really hate for you to be one of my best friends and have to like lie to you. I would hate that.
No, I would want you to be very honest with me. And you have been.
Always.
You have been. Like in the years, like after I told you this is what I want to do, every time you've been very constructive. I feel like I've learned a lot in like the process too. So thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't believe in lying to friends.
Right.
Because then you're not my friend.
Stand on business.
Yeah, like I don't want you to put something out there that's embarrassing.
And I would and I would never want to do that as your friend, for any of my friends. I would never want to do that. So if it's late, like I'd rather you tell me. Like I'd appreciate you more as a friend if you told me that my music was late. You know?
Absolutely. Like, and I really have enjoyed the music that you've been putting out. Like,
Thank
and I'm not
you.
even a person that likes, not necessarily likes, but I don't necessarily listen to like dance music as much. And you know this about me, like
Yeah.
I'm an R&B through and through.
Right.
But I've genuinely enjoyed listening to like the songs that you've been sending me. Like, they've been nice.
Thank
Nice.
you.
I've been like,
Thank you so
wait,
much.
okay, this is cute. Like, honestly, I actually wanted to tell you this. Like, we both were talking about Billie Eilish's new album. I honestly feel like, even when I texted Justice yesterday, June,
It's okay.
we'll cut that out. I texted June yesterday and I was like, would you ever consider being a songwriter? And the reason why I asked you that was because both of these songs like kind of reminded me of like Fall For You felt like it really could have been on Billie Eilish's album. Like I don't know if you like when I was
That's
listening to
such
it
a
again.
good compliment. Like I love
No,
that.
I was listening to it yesterday and I was like I could have like and you listened to the album, like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like it could have like if Billy had recorded that, like I feel like it could have definitely been in the album or like it would have made a lot of sense. And then Got a Blast felt very Summer Walker to me. Like it felt very like I could hear lots of artists like
and at the time I was actually very much like into like Summer and like Cleo Soul and
you could hear it. Like you could hear it. And I think between the two, like I definitely, because of just my own personal, preferences about like some music I like, I really like this. I really
Thank you.
Like it was really I'm proud of you. Like I'm really interested to see what you do and like but let's talk about the song. I guess obviously you all haven't heard it yet.
Well, I feel like by the time this drops, then everybody will have heard it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, good.
Because it's coming soon. Very soon.
Love that.
Yeah. June 7th to be exact, because this will be out after that.
Oh, yeah. Great. Okay. Yeah, so I just kind of like mentioned it. It did give me like Summer Walker R&B vibes to it. Like but it still had that like dance feel, and it's still like I see what you mean by like the genre bending, the like playing around. Let's talk about that because I feel like that's in pop music right now. I feel like a particular artist, but lots of artists are really doing that, right? And again, a particular artist,
a very particular artist,
a very very particular artist
is doing it amazingly,
brilliantly. And I guess like let's talk about the song and like how that came about, and just in general, like as we think about the rest of the songs that might be on an EP, and then who June Castor is going to become and the music that you're going to release. Like I want to talk about what genre means to you, I guess. But then also let's talk about pop music right now, and let's talk about people playing around with genre, because I feel like Billie is doing it, and I feel like we'll get to her. We're gonna unpack in a second, but I think Nicki has always done it, right? And I think Pink Print too. She like was really like got into that bag of like I'm not gonna be categorized by this specific thing,
right? Yeah, and I think growing up with those people, I feel like that was very helpful for me to like understand as like an artist. I feel like me as a person, like I'm not one to just like conform, and I feel like I needed people like that, like growing up, like seeing them do a bunch of like out of the box shit, crazy shit, getting ridiculed for it, getting a lot of shit for it, and they still did it, and now they're like in history, not like history books, they're legends, and like people look back on that.
Legend, icon,
right?
I mean, will be in history books. It's particularly
a very particular person.
Like, I even, I love Lady Gaga. Like, who also does that very well and has always done it very well. Like, and I feel like you didn't mention Gaga in your influences earlier, but I do see it. Like,
and I definitely should have mentioned Gaga, because I feel like she specifically like just like the way that she carried herself in her like the beginning stages of her career. Like I just remember, like I will always remember her first Grammys performance. Like she literally said, "I want to be a star." She literally said that, and she is one of the biggest stars, legacy acts. It's crazy that she's like a legacy act because like she's who I like. She's not like necessarily a legacy act because
Yeah,
she still has like a
she's
lot of
still the
time to do her
girl.
shit. She's still the girl.
She's still
She's
the girl.
definitely still the girl. But yeah, no, I loved art. Like I just loved artists that didn't want to conform. And honestly, like I kind of want to be that for people who grew up and didn't have artists like them, but in that way. Like I want to do that, but like also be open to just be like black queer femme. And I feel like I didn't get those artists growing up. Like I feel like now like teenagers like have like Lil Nas X. And even like I was still in high school when he dropped like Old Town Road and shit, but
We kind of have Frank
kind of had
Ocean.
it.
We kind of have Frank
Yeah,
Ocean.
yeah, I love Frank Ocean. I love Frank Ocean. I love Tyler. The only thing that I feel like I would say is like I feel like a lot of people like Frank Ocean and Tyler the Creator because they're very palatable.
Yeah.
So I feel like they present as mask, and I feel like that's why people think like, oh, like it's okay that I could listen to them. Um, I love their music, have also grown up on their music too. And I kind of want to be a little bit different because I just want to I just want to be the girl. I just want to be like I want to wear shit like this in fucking interviews. You know, I want to dress how I want to dress. I want to be femme and if people accept that, then they accept that and if they don't, they don't.
You know, the thing is, I actually was going to ask that very specific question, so I'm happy we like just talked about it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I do think, you know, we are in a very interesting time where Black queer people, Black trans people are getting a bit more visibility. Obviously, like I'm saying that limited, like there's lots of conditions around it, but
Yeah.
it is interesting that we're in a time where I feel like, and then also just LGBT people generally, but especially Black LGBT people are getting this opportunity to be stars in a way that, and be stars and be out. Right, like,
Right.
I'm not saying
Right.
we've had Black LGBT stars.
Absolutely.
Y'all just didn't
Absolutely.
necessarily know.
Yeah. Like I want to start
know.
out like I want to like be out before I like blow up and like have like I don't want to come out after. Obviously like I really can't, but like you know, it's not giving that, but you know, I want people like if like I ever do get like signed to like a label or whatever, like I want them to accept me as I am before I signed the dotted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's beautiful. I feel like we need more of that. You know, like even I think about Lil Nas X, I always kind of remind people that technically Old Town Road was already #1 before he came out.
Right.
Right. And I think it's very rare when you have people from the start being in their truth. So I respect you a lot for it.
Thank you.
I also know that's probably terrifying to have to do.
Yeah.
But you're doing it.
Thank you.
Which is, you know,
it's a start.
It's a start.
Sorry, we did not even talk about God of Blast.
Yeah, going back to that
a little bit, but
going back.
Yeah, God of Blast.
Circle back.
We will definitely circle back. Yeah, that was a lot, but it needed to be said. God of Blast. I started writing it. I actually wrote it in like a night, because it like instantly came to me. Basically, what I was doing was I had like maybe like 3 days where I would go home from work and then I would listen to YouTube type beats. Like I would look up like Cleo Soul type beat, Doja Cat type beat. Like not really so much Doja because I feel like with type beats, I feel like you'll get the better ones when you find like when you put like really niche artists like Cleo Soul type beat, Rochelle Jordan type beat. So like I wouldn't put like Beyonce type beat because there's probably like thousands and like to buy a license it would probably also be like $500 and I'm like yeah. And also YouTube is just very saturated with beats, so it really did take me like a long time of like sitting there and like listening to this beat and being like I don't think it's for me. And it's I'm very particular with what I want my sound to sound like. I feel like certain artists can write great music to like any beat, and I just wanted to make sure that I found the beat that was perfect for me. So it really like took days, like hours and hours, like probably like 2 hours every night. So probably like 8 to 10 hours of me just like listening to beats. And then I found one. I found um the beat for Gotta Blast. And it just came to me. Like I was like, this is amazing. Let me just record it on my voice notes. Because like that again, like really is my diary. And then like I wrote most of the lyrics in that like one go around. Um, yeah. Like certain things like I changed here and there, but for the most part, it was done like on the spot, which I loved. Also shout out the producer, Fred Erie. He's amazing. That beat was sickening, and I was like, I need to have it and write a song to it. And then I did. And then I did.
And I did.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I love that. And then going back to like the genre bending stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, generally, I think we're seeing that in pop music right now. How do you feel about that? Like, I think I think we're starting to see this like very large push against categorization. Also, let me cut this out. Do you want to talk about? Okay, back to
We're
this.
back.
We're back. So genre. I feel like we're seeing this in like pop music generally, or just like music generally. We're seeing like people really pushing against this idea that I need to be in this one specific genre. Like you can categorize my music in this very specific way. I think we're seeing especially a lot of Black artists doing that.
Right. Absolutely.
If we talk about like the history of genre, we know that R&B as a genre before that it was race records, and really it wasn't about what the type of music you were producing. It was about what you looked like.
Yeah.
And they just threw everything into that, and so I think we're seeing lots of, again, Black artists really saying like, you can't just call my music this one specific thing. Like, it's all these influences, all these things. So
yeah,
just kind of wondering, like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the state of pop music? Who do you think is doing it? Who do you think is doing it really well? Right?
Yeah.
Like all those things.
Yeah. No, genre really is a funny construct. It really is. It's interesting how like certain people can bend genres and people will put them in a new genre. Like I don't want to like name names, but like there was like a country girl who went to pop, and like I feel like that was like acceptable. And people were like, "Oh, like this is like a genuine like shift. Like I could see like the differences." And then like with particularly Black artists, like I feel like that exact same thing will happen, and there's no like conscious like understanding that there is like a very big difference between what they have put out before and what they're putting out now. Um yeah, I feel like in terms of like what I'm doing with my music, I am trying to find my sound. I'm very like early in like my artistry. Um so I am exploring a lot of genres, and it's really been great honestly because I really do listen to everything. Like I try to listen to everything, because pop culture is just like very important to me, and I also just love understanding why artists will like go into like a different genre or go into a different sound, because A, there is a reason, and B, like I think that there's I don't know like what exactly I'm trying to say with this, but I think that like yeah, I think that artists are just like particularly finding a sound that could be underlying, and I felt like that kind of related to like where I was at. Like I feel like if I want to make like upbeat music, it's because like I'm in a good mood and I like have certain emotions that are like tied to that. Um yeah, but I feel like in terms of like the state of pop right now, I hate when people say that like the new music of this generation is trash, and like I just feel like that's a very like dated like I don't know. I feel like when there's new old people, like they
When
just
there's
keep
new old
when there's new old people, they just like repeat the pattern of saying, "Oh, like the music of the younger generation sucks." It's like Actually, no, because they're influenced by the people that you listen to. Um, yeah, but I think that the people who are really like defining like music right now, I mean, you literally cannot not say Beyonce. And just know her, yeah, her trajectory is insane. There will never be another person like her. But there's just also like people of like the newer generation who are doing like really cool shit. Like Chapel Roan. I don't know if you listened to her. I actually saw a tweet the other day that was like, "Oh, I feel like Chapel Roan and Lady Gaga had like the same trajectory," and I was like, in terms of like debut, and I was like, I don't necessarily see that because I think Chapel Roan deserves like the amount of attention that Gaga got in her debut because I think Chapel Roan is insanely talented. Um, but I want I want her to get more of a global audience because she is amazing.
I gotta get down.
Yeah, for pop specifically. Um, yeah, I don't know if that answered the question honestly,
It did.
because I didn't even give a lot of examples, but
I mean, the
I
example you
think that,
gave. You
but
gave the
also, yeah,
example.
I will say that like we should definitely be like grateful that we are living in the year of 2024 with this year of music. Like I think 2024 has been like one of the best years we've had in music in a very,
Absolutely.
very, very long time. And that's not to say like there wasn't great
Absolutely.
music being put out before, but I just think like 2024 has like something like special. Like I feel like we'll remember this year and like years to come because like the artists who have been out for like 30 years are putting out great shit, and the artists who have been out for like 2 years have been putting out
Amazing.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
amazing work. So shout out to all the artists, honestly. All the artists putting out great music, not giving a fuck what other people say, genre bending, changing sounds. It's like I feel like more artists just like I feel like that momentum needs to like keep keep up like for 2025 and 2026 because it's a lot of like it's I feel like the reason why 2024 is so special is because it's not the same thing that I've heard before. I feel like I in my mind like I feel like I I feel like I divide like eras by like when in the decade it was. Like I feel like the beginning of like the 2010s had a very specific sound. Like
Yeah.
that was like Sasha Fierce, the Fame Monster, like Teenage Dream. Like that was a very, very specific sound.
Loud.
Loud.
Around that time, right?
Loud. Yeah,
Or was
like
it?
2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then mid 2010s like had its own sound
Pink
too.
Friday. We gotta throw that in.
Gotta get it to Pink Friday.
Gotta.
You can't not say Pink Friday. Yeah. Wow. Sorry, I was just thinking about her trajectory too. I love that woman. No, I love her so much. But yeah, I feel like the mid 2020s is definitely like gonna be like
Yeah.
it's gonna be like half of what was in the beginning of the 2020s, and it's like leading us into like the future of like what the end of the decade is really gonna bring. It's gonna like merge those two together. I feel like, yeah, yeah.
I agree. And I also feel like what we're seeing is I also feel like we're seeing a lot. I feel like a lot of the artists we're talking about have always been doing that. Like I think kind of what
Mm,
this conversation is like showing is like we're talking about the genre bending, but the artists we're talking about kind of have always done that. Like Nicki Minaj has always played around with a
mm,
lot of things. Like
yeah,
Lady Gaga has always played around with everything. Beyonce has always played around with everything. I think we're just finally reaching this point where people are willing to
yeah.
recognize it. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
partially because those artists are making it very clear. Someone else that I think has been saying that a lot recently, SZA, like they've always been like making music that you really shouldn't have been categorizing in this very specific way anyway. And I think
Exactly.
lately we're seeing them say it.
Yeah, because SOS has like
Come on.
five. You could name like 5 different
You
genres
know,
in SOS.
even if we go back to like Z Control SOS, three
Absolutely
very different
different
albums
albums.
that
Very,
beat
very
and
different.
they're all R&B tech according to
Yeah,
what,
like all R&B. Like
you know,
there's something that it's not just R&B. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah, like R&B could be like the derivative, but like there's a lot of like there's a lot of pivots. Yeah, a lot of really great pivots too.
Yeah. And I think we're just seeing artists like say exactly what you're saying. Like, do not force me into this box.
Right.
And if I need to make an album like a very specific album, like I'm just gonna say it. Cowboy Carter.
Say it. Say it.
The girl. The woman.
Like album of the year. Album of the year of 2024.
It's crazy. She's put out the album of the year kind of repeatedly. She hasn't
almost
won
every
it.
time.
She hasn't won it.
Shit.
But she
it's crazy.
does consistently do it. And I feel like Beyonce is probably a really great example of somebody who, again, look at her entire trajectory. She's always done all the things you're saying, like reference artists of the past. She's always made it very clear, like, I'm looking at the 70s, I'm looking at the 80s. She's always, and if you listen to all her albums, they all sound very different.
Yeah.
But she's always been categorized as an R&B artist, even though Sasha Fierce and Dangerously in Love and 4 aren't
the same.
Or not the same. And then when you get to this, like the 2010s Beyonce, the Beyonce Lemonade, Renaissance, Cowboy Carter run.
Yeah. Someone said on Twitter, I think it's like Lemonade was kind of the precursor of like the 3 acts, because it really did, which is like going back to your point of like genres, like Lemonade did not have one genre at all,
and that's why she got.
And people think that like Renaissance is really just like house. People think that Cowboy Carter is just country,
and they're not.
No. At all. But I feel like that's the thing, is like you really can't like. Well, with specific artists, you definitely can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like like a Casey Musgraves, like what was that album, Rainbow? Like that's country pop, I guess. But in that, it's just like you can't really like. It's just music. Like it's music.
It's music.
And there's like I feel like genres are important, but also I feel like sometimes it's like the ways that people define it makes it like just like hard for an artist to like
be an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
And all of this, like I'm thinking, where are we on time?
Like 5 minutes, yeah.
We have 5 more minutes? Have we been talking for an hour?
Damn near.
Wow.
Wow.
So like, how do we want to close it? Like we've been talking.
Like we have
something. Okay, something I do really want to know. We haven't seen you perform, and you know, I think we talked a little bit about like vocalist you. We talked a little about songwriter you. We talked about the influences.
Yeah.
What are we gonna expect from June Castor on the stage, or in a music video, or like all these other parts of like artistry that we haven't seen yet? Like, get me in.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get into visuals, because I'm the type of person that music is my main passion. It's like the thing that I want to do until like the end of my time. Okay. But I also love fashion. I love creative direction. So I really have been working with like my friends and people like in my community, in my circles, to like try to figure out like the best ways to do that. In terms of live performances, I'm really preparing myself. Like I really want to start performing by the end of the year. I really think it's just ripping the Band-Aid off. I've been talking to like a bunch of people that are doing that already, and people that have friends who do that. And everybody says the first time is the hardest time. The first time you're not going to sound good. Yeah, I mean, some people might. I did not go to the Matthew Knowles school for training, performing, you know, but I'm really trying to make that a reality, because I also want to understand who I am as a performer. I really do, because I very much do want to be like dynamic, and you know, I feel like I could take a lot of like the elements of my other passions and like wield it into like a performance. So I'm trying to A, make sure that, what I'm putting on stage is great, and B, I'm also just like preparing myself so that I don't have as much anxiety as, because it's really been years. Like, I was supposed to be in a musical in college, and that literally got canceled.
Pandemic.
Not even actually. It's just um the director wasn't like directing.
Real.
So they canceled it. So the last time that I performed like on stage was really like middle school. Yeah. So it's really like, yeah.
I'm excited to see that. And you know me,
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna let you go on stage.
Right. No. You are gonna be my Matthew dolls.
Okay. Okay, don't say that.
Okay, yeah, let me not say that.
But
They're
influenced by.
right. Yeah. There will never be another.
There will never be another
Matthew or Beyonce.
A combo.
Like, yeah.
But like, I guess, and I feel like they haven't came in, so let's talk about that a little bit more too. Because I'm thinking about, like, you said you've done some script writing. I know you think a lot about like film and Broadway and all these other artistic mediums.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, we're talking about genre bending in the music, but I'm also wondering how that's gonna manifest into the stage, into your visuals. Like,
absolutely,
like, are like pulling in all of these different types of visual media into the performance artist.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good question. Because live events and concerts were really like a big thing for me, and they still are. I love seeing like artists that I listen to on a daily, or just going to an event and seeing someone and being like, oh, they're like so talented. Like, that's honestly how I discovered SZA and Anderson .Paak, because I won tickets. I used to like apply to like radio contests all the time, and I won tickets to go to a festival in Manhattan, and this was like 2016, I think. Like, I was like still in high school, and I saw SZA set, and I was like, wow. This was before Control came out, and I was like, she's amazing. Same thing with Anderson .Paak. Anderson .Paak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved just like discovering music by like seeing how people perform on stage. So I really want that to be like a thing for me. Like, I want to like build something great that people could like walk into a bar and be like, oh, that's really good. I want to like get into their music. So yeah, and even if it's not great, fuck it. At least I started it.
I love it.
At least I did it, and then I know what to change. I know what to change for the next. So I'm also trying to lead with that mentality, honestly, because I feel like as an independent artist, like, you have to be like your first fan, but you also have to like be realistic with yourself, because it's like, I want everything to go great. I want everything to like manifest in the ways that it should, but I have a lot of support from my friends, like you, August. I have like immense support, but like when it comes down to it, like, I am like the number one person on my team. I have to tell myself, like, this looks good, this doesn't, like, change this, like, listen to this one more time. And sometimes it's like stressful. Like, I literally came here and I was like, oh, I feel like things need to be changed. And because I'm still like in the process of like mixing my song, and I'm definitely a perfectionist, so it's just been like, I'm very happy that people have patience with me, because I can be a lot of times, and I just want everything to go smoothly, even though adulting is realizing that nothing. Well, also childhood taught me that too, but it's like, when you're an adult, it's like, damn, and being your own boss when it comes to like doing your creative shit is like, yeah, you really have to be on top of it and not let not like get too stressed about it, even though it literally sounds like I'm stressed right now. But yeah,
that answer was very Prince of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh
my God.
So yeah, I guess like to close, to wrap it up. you know, you have your dreams, I have my dreams, like so, and that's why I'm also really happy that you let me do this because we've talked about,
Yeah.
you know, what I want to do in theory if it ever happens. 20 years from now,
20 is crazy.
the Colby King Talk Show,
Mm-hmm.
June Castor is there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want people to, I guess, who is that person? Or like, what do you want to be able to say, like, looking back on my career, on my life? Like, who am I now, 20 years from now?
Yeah. I would want people to like just see my journey and just see like where I started. Like I didn't have like training growing up on like singing or like I wasn't really encouraged to pursue music because my family wanted me to like make money.
Yeah.
Like
Of
yeah,
course.
my parents, not parents. My mom didn't want me to be like a creative. Even though she supported me in like whatever I did do, I feel like there was like this understanding of like, oh, like you need to like make sure that like we're taken care of. But I just want people to like know that I did my big one and I tried my hardest. I feel like that's really like the main thing. I want people to see my journey and go, they made it happen, they did their shit, and they chased their dreams, which a lot of people like don't do.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's the end of this. This was really fun sitting down and talking to you. Got a Blast will be out
June 7th.
June 7th.
June 7th.
I guess this will be out after that.
Yeah.
So I don't even know why I did that. Anyways, so stream
or it's out now.
It's out now.
On all platforms.
On all platforms. Yeah. Stream, listen. And yeah, this was great.